You're watching News 24 Live. Welcome to our very first Super Rugby 2015 preview. The tournament finally kicks off on Friday morning. I'm joined in studio by our Sport24 rugby panel, Rob Howing, the chief writer and editor, Garen Namley. Gents, thanks for coming in.
Morning, Nick.
Hello, Nick.
First of all, Garen, happy birthday.
Thanks very much. Another year wiser, I like to think.
Debatable.
Looking forward to some pretty accurate birthday predictions, of course.
Absolutely.
But yeah, guys, feel it. It is here. Super Rugby 2015. Rob, I'm going to start with you. Tomorrow morning, Crusaders kicking off against the Rebels. So that is one of two non-derby fixtures this weekend.
Yes, Crusaders always an interesting side. It's the sort of team you always have to keep an eye on, don't you? Because even if they have a little bit of a drift period or something during a Super Rugby season, you can always guarantee that there's going to be that little charge that takes them into the playoffs inevitably. The only thing you can say is that they're for all their sort of 7-time championship credentials, they haven't actually won it for several years now. It was 2008, I think, Garen, was their last one, wasn't it? So they're a little bit shy of the title, but they will be motivated by the fact that they felt they were diddled out of the final, that late penalty decision by Craig Joubert, which swung the game against the Waratahs, that thrilling final last season. So you'd expect the Crusaders to still be thereabouts. I still have them as playoffs candidates, as I think Garen does, but perhaps just not going all the way.
And in terms of their personnel this year and the Rebels often have a lot of sort of marquee signings, and they've had a pretty decent pre-season.
Yes, they have. I still think that the Rebels are one of those sides who are capable of upsets. We've seen over the last couple of years that when they play out of their skins, as with any Super Rugby side really, they are capable of knocking over just about everybody or anybody in Melbourne. But I still don't think they'll last the pace. I don't see them being a sort of a consequential team, if you like, this season. If I was thinking Aussie Conference, I'd be thinking more along the lines of Waratahs being right up there again, and the Brumbies, and perhaps the sort of slowly regrouping Reds as a factor. But I don't think that Rebels and Force will be that much of a factor this season. You never can tell in this competition, though, of course, can you?
Yeah. Garen, the other Friday fixtures, the Brumbies Reds, and then the other non-derby, which is our Lions against the Canes.
Right, yeah. Obviously, Brumbies Red, big Australian derby to kick things off in that conference. The Brumbies, we've become accustomed to them being Super Rugby title winners and contenders, especially under Jake White. They'll certainly be there or thereabouts come the end of the tournament, as Rob says. They might even be good enough to win their conference. Time, will tell. I believe they've signed David Pocock, who's one of the better loose forwards in world rugby. So he's
been out for a while.
Yeah, moving across from the Force, having missed most of last season with a shoulder injury, I think. So they should be right up there. The Reds, they've lost Quade Cooper at Flyhalf. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing really to have lost old Quade. He's always a bit of a disruptive force. But I do think the Reds will be competitive this year. They really smashed the Crusaders in the last pre-season game. They've got the new rugby league convert in Carmichael Hunt at Flyhalf, who apparently is very, very good. So it'd be great to see him play. So I don't think that game's going to be decided by more than a couple of points. Actually quite looking forward to that game, actually. And then, as you mentioned, the Hurricanes making the travel all the way in week 1 to Johannesburg to play at altitude against the Lions team, which on paper is actually fairly strong. Again, last year we saw that they were
perhaps one of the surprise packages last year.
Absolutely. They started off so well in Johannesburg. Their forwards were perhaps the forward pack of the tournament. They scrummed incredibly well. They've got some young, exciting faces in the front row again this year. A young under 21 baby buck player at hooker. So I expect them to be competitive against the Canes. The Canes, for their part, one of the better backlines in the tournament. They're always up there with the leading try scorers. You've got, even though Manon is not playing this weekend, they've got Corey Jane, Bowden Barrett, TJ Perenara, Julian Sevier. They certainly will score some tries. I think the Lions will be stronger up front. So if you're looking for a prediction there, I think it's going to be a close one. I think the Lions might just sneak it if altitude plays a part later in the game, but within 5 points, I reckon.